Thanks everybody for joining, and thanks for the heads up, Jeff, and also for the many things that people are doing right now. For example, we have people at the Board of State canvassers meeting in Lansing, where they're discussing another Only Citizens Vote petition, and I would just like to say this is a really important petition that will be coming out. So they'll be discussing the 100 words on that, and hopefully something will come out of that. And then hopefully we will have one Only Citizens Vote petition that our state can rally behind and get across the finish line. So with that, I want to turn the meeting over to our much esteemed and beloved communications manager. This is Kristine Christlieb, but she has a lot to tell us. Go ahead, Kristine.
Let's see. I'm sorry, just a moment. I'm trying to do several things. I apologize.
We can come back to you if that helps.
Could you give me a minute?
Sure. Tracy.
Oh, wait, maybe I'm okay. Hold on. No, I'm not. Yeah,
Tracy, let's go to you, Tracy. And Tracy has been handling our social media program and doing just wonderful work. So Tracy, can you tell us about the things that you're doing with social media and why it's important?
I can, and I also have some metrics that I sent over to Jeff to bring up. But with social media, just getting the word out is really important for getting more people involved, but also just for educational purposes. So it serves, two different purposes when you're trying to spread news and also trying to make sure that people are becoming more active within the groups. So what I have over here is the PIME Facebook accounts, and if you can tell, in the last 3 months, we've definitely had a huge surge in our views, which is really good, and also a surge in views from non-followers. So that means we're reaching people who aren't following the page, and we need more people, obviously, to share, like, comment. So if you're following us and you share it, it's good, because then your friends will see it, and that's just another way to get some of the word information out, especially when there's news articles. Facebook is a really good place for spreading news more, educational, clicking the links. So I don't know if you can scroll the next page, Jeff, down. If you show who our viewership is and our audience demographics on Facebook, it tends to be older, more women engagement, but it's the 55 and up crowd that's on Facebook and that's engaging and seeing everything more there, which is, it's common. That's, every platform that we have, you'll notice that it's usually geared towards a certain age group. And then if you keep going down, scrolling, Jeff, I'll just go through these quickly. X, we're definitely getting huge impressions over there, and you'll see more impressions with certain videos, which I have some linked towards the end of this document. And it's a interesting thing to see, like, which videos are spiking and which ones, are saying, but we're growing our impressions there and the visibility of that platform. And if you scroll down, you'll see that when you look at the age group or demographics, there's more male on X, and it's a little bit of a younger demographic than it is on Facebook. So when you're on Facebook, TikTok, X, Instagram, you are really, reaching all different demographics, because not everybody is on every platform. But it's helpful if you guys are all on all of these platforms and following us and sharing and liking, commenting. So that, don't be afraid to join any of the social media. And then TikTok, which is our newest platform. We've only been on it for 2 months. We're reaching an audience. I think this is where we've had our most views on videos, since it's a video platform, that's going to happen more than Facebook. People are going to react more or see the photos or an article linked compared to watching the whole video through. And these are just some of the examples of the videos. And if you'll notice, our videos are different. Like, the ones that get more views on X are not the same that get the most views on TikTok, and they're not the same that get the most views on Facebook. So across the platform, it's different reactions to every single thing that's posted. And it's just about really trying to figure out what is going to pop on those certain platforms. If you'll notice on TikTok, it was the video, and it was kind of a longer video too, and talking. So it wasn't something that was super, attention grabbing. That was the most watched about the impeachment, just them speaking about it. So I don't know if it's just the word impeachment that's going to grab more people into it, or it just the algorithms. You have to figure out what works best with each algorithm. And then some of the top videos, obviously you don't want to show them all. It would take too much time, but I don't know if Jeff wants to click on one of those links. Jeff, just pick a video and see which one. Oh, this is the one with Trump at the rally.
I think we've shown that before.
Yeah.
There's no sound on that one. Jeff, maybe you can get one that we haven't shown before.
This was the top post on X, but it was surprisingly not the top post on TikTok.
Interesting.
So, yep.
That probably won't play either. So, but they're there. I'll drop the links in, or Tracy, you want to drop the links into the chat?
I'll tell you what, maybe Isaac can play one towards the end of the show. We'll get the sound going, and that'd be great. All right, wonderful. All right, thank you very much, Tracy. You're doing great work. I can see you're really hitting your stride, and it's really, really very important for us. And do you have any recommendations or requests of the folks who are part of the team?
I would definitely just make sure you're on all the platforms and you're following and liking, commenting. Go to the page directly. Don't wait for it to just pop up when you're scrolling, because a lot of times it doesn't show up. I feel like sometimes more so on Facebook and Instagram than it does on other platforms. And, if there's anything that's out there, email me, get it out. If you see something that you're like, oh, this is so interesting, because I can't be in a million places at once. And I don't see everything that's happening on social media or in a hearing. So just being able to give me a heads up that something happened is really helpful, so I can go back and make sure I get it out on social media.
Great. And also, like Jacky says in the chat here, please follow these posts, like them, share them, repost them, comment. All of that helps build energy and help spread the word. And it's so easy to do. So if you can all participate in that, that's really, really helpful. Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody. Darlene will be joining us, hopefully. She said they're wrapping up there pretty soon, hopefully at the Board of State Canvassers. So stay tuned for that. Kristine, go ahead and fill us in. Do you have ready what you need ready?
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't find myself on, I had so many windows open, I couldn't find myself. Anyway, as you pointed out, Patrice, news is happening right now in Lansing on the trying to reconcile those two non-citizen voting proposals that, so at the end of today, we hopefully will come out with one ballot proposal, and the two proposals will not be like dueling banjos or something. So, so that news is happening right now. I thought I'd just give you a sneak peek about what some of the news that we're going to be reporting on coming up next week. We actually have very good news coming out of the Detroit election office. And it's due to many of you participating in the Detroit elections, and it's really made a difference. And so we're going to be reporting on a very special thing that you're going to want to know about. The other thing I wanted to mention is tomorrow there's news going on regarding the state versus Lambert Scott. And I have heard, but am unable to confirm that Jonathan Brader, no, I'm sorry. That Jonathan Brader will be cross-examined tomorrow in a probable cause hearing. Now, as it turns out, a lot of times those hearings, you can listen to them remotely, or sometimes they're even videotaped. That is not the case in Hillsdale County. In order to know what happens in that hearing, you actually have to be there in person. So if someone wants to go to that probable cause hearing, that would actually be very helpful. But I will give you this warning. A lot of times you show up for a hearing and it gets continued, or the person who was supposed to be cross-examined isn't. And so it can be kind of a big zero, but that is supposed to be happening tomorrow in Hillsdale. I don't want to belabor this. Is there somebody who is very familiar with the facts of that case? Patrice, do you know the facts of that case well
No, I
enough?
don't. No, I don't.
Does anybody on the call know the facts of that case? I mean, it has to do, obviously, it's an election integrity issue. I believe it's two clerks who are being, oh, Sherry, go ahead.
This will be a little rough, but in a nutshell, I believe it's over the instructions that were given to clerks in the 2022 election, I believe, regarding not verifying signatures on ballots and things like that. That's as rough as I have it. Sorry.
Okay.
There could be more to it. That I think that's one of the issues, I believe.
Okay. Also, there is there's a voter fraud conviction out of Minnesota that is very, very similar to the GBI Strategies case here in Michigan. Interestingly, it was just the kind of the low level workers who are being convicted. So the foundation that funded them and so on, none of those people are going to jail, just the workers. Then I do want to mention House Bill 4707, which has recently been introduced. It is in the Election Integrity Committee right now. It's not clear exactly when that will come up for a vote. We're in conversations with Rep. Smith's office about how we can help and what we can do. But those are I would say those are today's headlines.
Great. Thank you very much, Kristine. Appreciate it. And if anybody can go to that Hillsdale hearing, let us know so we can tap your brain and see what happened.
Yeah.
Very quickly, I'm corresponding with somebody, and they say that Jonathan Brader will testify on Monday when the trial really starts. I'll try to get some clarification during the meeting and give an update toward the end.
Beautiful.
So,
just you can put it in the chat too. That'd be good. Thank you very
Will do.
much. Appreciate it. All right.
Patrice, it might be useful to mention that I would assume our audience knows who Jonathan Brader is, but he is the director of the State Board of Elections. So he's the administrator over Michigan's elections, and he is going to be cross-examined on whenever it is. Thank you, Jeff, for looking into that.
Yes, thank you. Good. Okay, next up, we have our wonderful, beloved Mark Smith from Benzie County. And Mark has some really interesting news to report, as well as his great county activities. So go ahead, Mark. I see you're hard at work under an umbrella. You're muted. You're muted, Mark.
Am I, here you
Yep.
go. Patrice,
There
this
you
one's
go.
for you.
Thank you.
Oh my
Mark
God.
sends out an image almost every morning and every night, says like, good morning,
Of my-
America, and good
Yeah,
night, America, with a picture of a 52 cup.
It's a sickness, but I don't know how to, I can't cure myself. Anyway, I won't go too long here, but Patrice, I gotta remark that when you started this group and when many people got involved, we were wondering what happened, what can we do, where are we going to go? What I'm hearing today is we are at we are even or maybe a little ahead of the election issues that we've been trying to resolve. So I think everybody
That's a
should
good
give
point.
themselves a pat on the back. But yesterday we had a member of our team. We share the county commissioner meetings. Now, Benzie County is very small. We have 7 commissioners. And at the end of the public comment section, it was brought up by our county clerk, Tammy, that she had attended an Bureau of Election meeting regarding what's coming next. And this is to be confirmed in August. But Tammy said that our county was acknowledged, and I think all of the clerks probably, that the machines that we're using in Blaine Township, they expire in 2027. They have a 10-year lifespan, which nobody told our clerks or our county commissioners. And so in 2027, they're going to have to buy all new equipment. Now this will be a township issue, but where I work, where the elections for me, there's 497 voters in Blaine Township. An election day piece of equipment is $15,000, they tell us. If you have an AV machine, that's $11,000, and early voting's another $15,000. So if we just total up the 2 machines, not the absentee or the AV machine, you've got $30,000 up to $41,000. They're saying there'll be no funding from the state at this point. And in Blaine Township, we have 497 voters. That math sinks. That takes the elections away from us and centralizes it, which is probably what the state's trying to do. So they're being told the old equipment won't work. There'll be no funding support at this time. And so I think we'll know more in August as Tammy goes to the next meeting. But it's kind of fun to be at a point where we're finding out the information live as opposed to a year or 2 years later. So we have time to react. So we'll update everybody on how that is. But if the clerk group wants to look at and talk to their clerks, if any of them were at a recent training, we can confirm that. But we'll confirm that in August when Tammy comes back from her next session. But
Say,
yeah, it's
Mark,
kind of fun.
there's
Yes.
a question in here that I think you're going to want to address. Mark, can you use
Yes.
manual counting, hand counting?
Oh, girlfriend, I'm glad you said that. I sent you a clip because one of the county commissioners, and we can name names, it's public knowledge. Dave Davies was just promoted to county clerk. He was on the early work that we were doing with Tim Vetter, and we held the meetings at he was the township supervisor. We held them in Inland Township because they're about the only township up here that had a big screen TV and audio equipment that we could use. So Dave's very well aware of hand counting, and he brought that up, and I shared the clip yesterday with Patrice, and they laughed. But I don't think that's a laughing matter. For us, for 497 voters, that's a simple matter. We don't need machines to count our ballots. We can use the paper ballots, we can mark them with a pencil, and we can count them. So I think Paul Crandall is my Blaine Township supervisor. We're going to start that conversation. And let's just, so it's interesting where we'll end up. But yeah, I like hand counting, and I think this might be a segue to introduce that in counties that are willing to listen. My neighbor just drove by on his golf cart.
So I think this is a really interesting update. And first of all, I think it's wonderful, like you said, that we can be ahead of the ball and see it
Oh, it's
coming down
refreshing.
the
Oh my
alley.
God,
Yes.
yeah.
And this is another good example of that. And the truth of the matter is that everybody on this call should know Michigan law mandates that our electronic tabulators must meet the Election Assistant Commission's certification standards. And so
Right.
far in Michigan, not a single machine meets those standards. So they're all out of compliance. That's not a popular thing for the folks on the other side to admit to, but the truth is not a single machine complies with Michigan law. And you have to just digest that a little bit. And the other thing that I think is interesting is, like you said, that these machines have a 10-year life expectancy. They never pay for themselves when you consider the
No.
cost of a hand count. So I think you're really onto something there, and
Well,
I'd
we're
like to
gonna,
get us involved in that. So that's wonderful, Mark. Good
yeah,
job.
we're gonna introduce the hand count concept at the county commissioner meetings, public comment. Most of the commissioners are friends of ours anyway. So
Good.
Art's the chair, and I replaced him in the position I'm at now. Let's just say 6 out of 7 are friendly. So it would be an interesting. We'll keep you posted, but I think what's happening is, as you noted, Patrice, they're trying to force a centralization due to cost.
Mhm.
And that should make everybody dig in a little harder. We don't. It's a perfect segue to hand count, as you said. But yeah, that's the latest Benzie County. It's a beautiful day. Come on up. Remember, it's a great day to sit in the sun.
Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it.
And don't encourage me, Patrice. I'll cut myself off.
Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah. So if anybody's interested in following that, we need to get Mark. I know Mark's on it already, but the basic, there are guidelines for hand counts, and they've been developed. They can just be plopped down and they can implement them. So it's not like you have to build those from scratch anymore. So that's great. Now, it's my pleasure to announce our All-Star Award of the Week. And I'm really thrilled to do this for a couple of reasons. I'm thrilled to anyway, because we have so many All-Stars. But this is also important to me because it's my brother. But Alex Wedden has been with PIME, Pure Integrity Michigan Elections, since day one. He was sitting around this table when we decided we needed to do something back in end of 2020, December 2020. And through PIME meetings, he met his now wife, who is now my sister-in-law, Becky. So Alex, if you were watching the memes, he and Becky, he created the memes that were cartoon items that were featured in a lot of our blogs. And he also videotaped and audio taped our meetings in PIME when we were having those. And he's just been a very instrumental person. He's the person that thought of the All-Star Awards. And you know what? I forgot to check and see if he's on the call today. Alex, are you on the call? Oh my gosh. If not, then I'll just have to rescind it. No, I'm kidding. But oh dear, Alex isn't on the call. What a goof on my part. All right. Well, anyway, we'll tell him he was the winner of the award, and I'll make up something else so that I can make him throw him off balance a little bit, which is not easy. But Alex suffered a stroke not too long ago, and he's doing real well in recovering. So it's just my real pleasure to honor him with this. So thank you very much. Now, I'd like to move on to Ron. I see you're here. You usually do our wrap up, but since you're here, I'd like you to come in and talk to us because you're always so motivational. Ron Armstrong, as you may know, is president of Stand Up Michigan. He's also very active on the national front. He's good friends with Cleta. I come to find out, which I didn't know until Cleta told me, is he's the one that roped me into Michigan Fair Elections and told Cleta that I was the person. That just came out recently, or I was oblivious to it anyway. So anyway, go ahead, Ron. Please share your wisdom with us.
Sure. Well, I think I want to go back basically to, you can hear me okay, right?
Beautifully, yes.
All right, great. I want to go back to really last week because that's where this kind of started. It was a time of reflection, and I think it's important for each of us to take time to do that. As busy as we've all are and have been, last week you talked about the anniversary. It was, I believe, 4 years since you've been, is that correct, Patrice? 4 years?
With PIME, yes, that's right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And what that brought up in my mind, especially as Cleta talked and about how all of that came to be, was the recognition of what a calling is. There was a point in time that each one of you answered a call, or there was an issue that affected you, your life, your family, your business, that you recognized you needed to get involved. And everyone has gotten involved, and sometimes we get so busy in doing certain aspects because we're being asked to, that sometimes we get distracted and we miss the important call, the real calling that God has for our lives in regards to many of the things, which of course is preserving our freedom. And that means we're preserving our republic. And so much of what you all understand is the importance, of course, of elections and the process. And if we don't have fair elections, then we don't have a country. All of those things that I know you recognize. But I really think that it's important for you to, as I listened to Cleta and as I remembered the conversation from Cleta, number one, she asked me to come to a summit in DC in 2022, in the early part of that year. And I immediately made phone calls and I changed my plans and I went there, and there was a snowstorm, and Cleta didn't even make it for another day or day and a half. She was stuck on the highway. And when she finally arrived, we had time to talk. We didn't know each other very well at the time. We'd been on calls together, but since then we've created quite a friendship. But through that process, it was deciding, we're going to create these infrastructures in various states, and we've got to identify people or organizations that are going to lead those. And so that led to a conversation, and of course, it led me to reflect on, okay, who do I know that I believe can handle or will recognize this calling and will potentially pick up the ball. All my job is to put the connections together. It wasn't to make the introduction. It wasn't to encourage her to do something she didn't want to do. And as you heard, it was something that wasn't even brought up or wasn't known who made the connection, because you see, none of this is about who gets the credit. None of it is about who is it that put this together or who gets recognized. It really is about the results, and it's the understanding of what's necessary. And so when I went through that, I thought of each and every time over the last 5 years that I have answered a call that I didn't realize was a vital or important one in this walk, in this time that we're in. And I also recognize there are times that we get distracted because the enemy does distract us. They would love us to get angry or to spend more time in areas that isn't really our expertise. It isn't really where our calling is. And so my challenge to each of you is, first of all, to spend some time in reflection of recognizing those times that you answered a call, that you attended a meeting, that you took the extra time to meet with that person to encourage them to become a part of the solution, and realize the results and the changes that have happened, the miraculous effect that we have had because people have chosen to answer the call. And that led me, as I was talking with Cleta, to think about what is next. And that is next year, of course, you just celebrated this anniversary. One thing that I mentioned to Cleta in a text, and I want to mention this too, as being a person, and I know most of you are people of faith. If you aren't, you should be, because God is in control. But the other thing is to know that our timing is not God's timing. A perfect example of that is 2020. If President Trump had been elected in 2020, none of this infrastructure primarily would have probably been built. Most of these connections, most of the outrage, the understanding, the things of what time it is and how critical it was that we get involved because of COVID and because of all the things that happened. But if Trump had been reelected, he would not be the president he is today. We would not have the organizational structure. I don't think America would be on the path of potential restoration or reform, as you call it. None of those things would have transpired, which tells us that even though we had wished and we fought for and we continue to fight for all that happened in 2020 and the election and fighting to look back there, sometimes we need to understand that things happen for a purpose or been used for a purpose to get us to act, to motivate us to recognize what time it is. And I think that tells us again, where are we today? Next year is our 250th anniversary of our country. And my question as I reflect on it, and as you reflected often over this independence time, is what if our founding fathers hadn't answered the call? Mm-hmm. What if they had not made the decisions to basically put up their, sacrifice all the things that they have done and continued to give us the wisdom of what it was going to take to keep it? I mean, the warnings and the warnings and the warnings that continued for decades after 1776 are the things we're reading today that are as real, if not more real, than when they were written. But they felt a need to continue to remind us of how important and vital the founding was, how those unalienable principles are based upon a creator, not on a government. And that was the foundation. It was liberty, not freedom, that we're talking about. Thomas Jefferson talked about it. Give me liberty, give me death. It's the freedom to choose. God's given us that. So as we look forward to this next year, I want to not only have you reflect on where you are, but where we are going individually, where we're going as an organization, where we're going as a nation. And to know that as we reach next year at 250, what will it look like? Will we be reflecting on all that was and how great it was, the opportunity that we had, the great history that existed? Or will it be on what is yet to come, on the restoration, on the future, on those same unalienable rights that are as true today as the day that they were given to us? And I believe the only way that we're going to be able to say that the future is as bright is if we spend a certain amount of our time, and I know it's precious, but this is where I ask you about your specific calling. We must speak to and recruit people on a regular basis to get involved in the fight in the areas in which their calling is. We cannot do this alone. The disciples did not do this alone. They were discipling to get other people to become disciples. We must get more people involved and engaged, but we must do it in an area that affects them in recognizing their calling may not be exactly the same as yours or mine. I say that because I believe that we as a party, political parties, we have often, as I've mentioned maybe here, if I haven't, I'll mention it again, but I believe the Republicans are often looking for the next cycle. The Democrats are focused on the next generation. They never give up. They always have a focus, and they have a plan right now, by the way. In defeat, they double down all the time. Where I believe we are on the move, we are gaining momentum, if you will. We certainly have a complete and utter clear picture of what was past and what the future will look like. But we have to stop speaking in the way that it is about a cycle. It is about a campaign. It is about a candidate. It is certainly not about consultants. It is not about identifying people as voters. You see, all of those things come and go, and we continue to live everything by those, repeating the cycles and a better candidate, and it will just change things. But you see, it will not. Until we change and build an infrastructure based on human capital, until we start investing in people. And I think our donors are always looking for a return on investment. And I say the return on investment, ROI, needs to be relational, organizing individually. If you want to see results, we must get people identified on those 80% issues, which you have many of them, we have many of them, that I believe they recognize and are a part of. That's how we get them involved. And we don't demand that they know or believe everything that we believe, and their calling, again, will not be the same as ours. That is what makes the greatness of our country, is we each fill a gap or a hole or provide a vision, and we each have different experiences. So as we go forward this next year, I want to continue to come on and remind you of where we are, about where we've been, but most importantly, where we want to be and how we can get there. And we're only going to do that if we're together, and it isn't going to be based on who that candidate is. It isn't going to be based on just the 26th cycle or whether Republicans are in control. It's going to be how many more people are we able to convince to become a part of the fight and identify their calling, because that's what God asks for each of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. That was beautifully put. And as you were talking, I was scrolling through the folks on this call, and I think what if I could speak, I can't speak for what's in everybody's hearts, but what I've heard repeatedly is that they feel as though their nation needs them, and they're stepping forward. And we all step forward with our talents as best we can, but it's remarkable. I mean, it's really just remarkable. It's like 1776 again, where people gathered and they said, well, if not me, then who? And speaking of that, if you get a chance to watch Hamilton, it's a very worthwhile musical because it tells the history of how this happened, who the leaders were, and how they gained the gumption to do it, and what they went through, and the losses and sacrifices, as well as the human side of it. So anyway, thank you, Ron. That's very well put. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And now it's my pleasure to announce that we have Darlene Hennessy with us straight from Lansing, from the Board of State Canvassers meeting. And I've been receiving texts as Darlene has. So go ahead, Darlene, give us the update.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm in my car. I did have to leave early, but Shelly will continue to update. I did see she put in, they were rewriting the 100-word summary. There's a good chance it's going to be passed.
It was passed. She
did
was
get it
passed.
passed. She did say that? Okay, good.
Yep. Mhm.
I missed that part. Like I said, I'm driving. But anyway, they had some objections, of course, from the opposition. Was all about, we're going to, 45 days isn't enough for people to be able to prove who they are. And in this proposition, it does have the funding given for anybody who has like problems with being able to either afford or be able to get their information. There's going to be an allocation for that, and then to be able to help them get their citizenship information. But they felt 45 days was not long enough to be able to prove that you're a citizen. That was on the opposition side. But I think it really went well. Paul Jacob, who is with the All Americans for Citizen Voting Mission, he's doing Michigan, and he has done 14 other states. Is very well versed in all of this, and it was their second proposal, ballot proposal. The first one had some things that the Board of Canvassers had remarked on, so that's why they submitted a second one. What the plan is that they're going to remove the first one, and hopefully we'll be joining with posthumous only citizens vote. So they have a big plan. They got money behind it to be able to get people out to do the canvassing and everything else, and getting all the paperwork stuff done for it. It went really well. Shelly and I both spoke. I both spoke on PIME and MFEI, and she spoke on the fact that she is a deputy clerk. So the things were really well stated by both of us. I mentioned the fact that this will actually, they were saying it was going to, the opposition was saying it was going to disenfranchise voters by this way, and I said, and my comment when I went up was that I didn't believe that this would be disenfranchising. I think with all of the issues we've had regarding voter accuracy and trust in the voting process, I think this will improve it. And that was part of my statement. I think they did really well. So I think all I got. So we just, the 20, he said 7/27, I believe, is the date that they plan to have the paperwork ready. And Megan Ranklin has stuff already group, I guess, of people. And she told, I got her card, we'll be in touch with her. And she thinks you're awesome, by the way, Patrice. And we'll go forward with getting people working for only citizens vote.
Right. That's great. So we'll be working for the Only Citizens Vote petition and against the ranked choice voting petition. Petition. Yes. And both of these, by the way, they will change the Michigan Constitution if they get enough signatures and then are passed by the voters. And we should all know that when things get put in the Constitution of the state, they're very difficult to change. You can't just pass a law and change what's in the Constitution. It has to have, I can't remember, 2/3 vote of the legislature and go back to the people, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. But there's quite a process, and it's very difficult to change the Constitution. So this is all very important work.
One of the things they did mentioned in there was that they would have to have two, because the federal does not require you to be a citizen. It doesn't say it in the wording for the federal election. So Arizona has two voting lists, and that was one of their big complaints. We'd have to have two voting lists, two voting ballots, because the federal doesn't require it in the federal law. And but I know that in the administration now, I believe they're planning to work going towards that, is elects with the executive order, and I know that's one of the plans going forward there. So I don't think that's going to be the problem. And there was something else I was going to say about that one, and I can't remember. But we don't use any, like some jurisdictions in other states, you can vote. We don't have anything like that in Michigan at this time.
So if that's it, Darlene, I would just add that on the federal level, the SAVE Act would require citizenship in federal elections. And that has been kind of, it's in process. The whole big, beautiful bill sucked all the air out of Washington, and all the focus was on that. But now the focus will come back onto things like the SAVE Act. So I think that,
exactly.
yes, so that's very encouraging. Thank you.
And one of the things also in the ballot proposal is that in this one, to the only citizen vote, we will be going back to having the photo ID. You will not be able to you won't be able to have that where you sign an affidavit, but you're going to have to submit photo ID to vote. Or some kind of ID, whether it's last four of your social security number or whatever.
Good. And I can just add, based on text from Shelly, that people are not happy that there are two petitions for citizens only voting. They want to consolidate it into one. Apparently the chair asked Paul if one would be withdrawn, and Paul said not today. That's Paul Jacob, who will be on our call next Thursday, by the way, reporting more on this issue. And the chair said they are meeting in a week. So actually, Paul might not be on our call next week if the Board of State Canvassers is meeting next week. So a motion was made, and they passed the form that was submitted. So it did get passed. Great. Thank you very much, Darlene. Did you have anything you wanted to update us on Wayne County activities?
Just that we're working on I have a person, Joseph Takis, who's going to take the lead on working on making sure we get parity, and we're gathering a team together for him. And he's very active. He was very active in working in the 6th district and getting voting people trained and challengers and all of that. And he's very excited. He's a young guy, and he's a poli-sci student. He is very, very excited about this endeavor. So that's what's happening in Wayne County.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, and the parity report, if you remember, and it's on our website. You can go to michiganfairelections.org and go to the library and just download the parity report. It's having a large impact across the nation because other states are thinking, well, we should be producing this report. I heard that from several people out in Washington recently. And it's also having an effect on legislators that are, and on clerks that are saying, what? You know, if Sterling Heights could achieve parity, but you have cities like Grand Rapids and Detroit and Dearborn having about 70% Democrat to 12% Republican, which is, the law says 50% as nearly as possible. That doesn't mean 70-12. And it doesn't mean it's anybody's job but the clerks to get that to be the right number. So anyway, it's a big issue, and I'm glad you're pursuing it in Wayne County. As everybody knows, Wayne County accounts for 8 to 14% of our overall votes in Michigan. So it's pretty significant. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks. So I was hoping if Jacky is here. I see Jacky. Can you give us a report on ranked choice voting? A lot is happening there, and on the chapters while you're at it.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to announce that we've decided to move forward with activism kits. So many of you who were on the call last week know that we did in fact finalize our palm card design. In the interest of time, because it was finalized last week, the best that we could do was send you a palm card PDF, which then you could print out. I've been told cost estimates were about $60 for like 500 if you go to local Staples or Office Depot. But I want to be clear that we want to provide all of our volunteers with the best possible resources to set you up for success. So we will be moving forward with activism kits. What that means is if you fill out a form to request palm cards at rejectrcv.org, that is where we're taking submissions to get an activism kit with palm cards. Your activism kit will include printed palm cards. It will include an informational booklet or sheet with talking points so that you can familiarize yourself with the arguments you might face while discussing this complex topic with everyday voters who approach you. We will probably have buttons so you can wear a button identifying yourself, a t-shirt, and perhaps even a foam board or a poster board if you're going to be at a table. Now, I want to be very clear that what's the way that we're going to organize this is that if you put in a request already and moving forward, your contact information is passed on to the chapter leader in your county. So if you live in Kent County, for example, and you signed up to get your hand on the post or the palm card PDF, your information has been passed on to the Kent County chapter leader. So that way she knows who's involved. That way we're not accidentally duplicating efforts where two different groups show up at the same event and are like, why are you here? Why are you here? We want to make sure that we're as organized as possible. So just know that if you haven't heard from me directly, your information was passed on to the chapter leader in your county to organize with you so that you're all on the same page and know where you're going and when you're distributing the palm cards. That being said, there was a number of people who signed up to distribute palm cards who live in counties where we do not have any chapter formed simply because nobody has stepped up to take on leadership. I'm going to paste into the chat now all of those counties so that you're aware. If you live in one of those, we need a leader to step up to oversee this efforts and maintain the chapter. There are volunteers in those counties who are ready to go to distribute those palm cards, but we need organizational structure. Otherwise, this is going to get out of control. So if you live in one of the counties I just posted in the chat, please, please, please contact me. I need to know that you're willing to take on this leadership role so I can start sending you the names of the other volunteers and you can coordinate to pass out these palm cards at events coming out, up throughout the state this summer. I know there's lots of fairs and festivals this weekend, next weekend, and all throughout every weekend in the summer. And aside from just that, that's the palm card distribution. Aside from just that, we will be launching a town hall tour. So in the counties where we do not currently have any chapters, nor do we have any volunteers ready to help with RCV, we will be organizing town hall tour stops in those counties to educate the general public about ranked choice voting and about what MFEI is doing regarding election integrity. And we will be calling for people to sign up to volunteer to help join the fight. So be aware that that's going to be launching this fall. We're working on that town hall tour. And furthermore, we have a clerk letter and a resolution initiative. So these are somewhat separate, but they work together. The resolution, and Darlene is really going to be working on this with Melanie Nivelt, the resolution is meant to be passed by municipal city councils or township boards or county commissions. It basically is a preemptive ban on ranked choice voting in that city or that township or that county. Why is this important? In the 100-word summary on the Rank My Vote ballot petition, it says that it will require ranked choice voting for all federal and statewide elections, but that local elections will have the option to opt into it. If we can get localities to ban it before it even gets all of the signatures, that is such a bad look for them because it's already showing that even if it passes, it's not going to be effective in any of these local jurisdictions because the local boards, the local councils don't want it. So again, if you're in a chapter with us, I will know to contact you so you can take that resolution to your local township board of trustees or to your local county commissioners. And then with the clerk letter, that would be Shelly Lake who's heading that up as she's a deputy clerk. The clerk letter is basically just, we have drafted a letter that is meant to have a county clerk or a local clerk sign it and make it public, whether it's published in a local newspaper or they make an announcement at a board meeting. That way people know that the local clerk is against this. And by local and county clerks coming out against it, we're bringing public awareness to the dangers of it, that not even our elected officials want this. So that's what's going on. Again, if you have not signed up with us, please go to rejectrcv.org. That's to sign up to distribute palm cards. And honestly, if you want to be a chapter leader in especially one of the counties I've listed here, you can email me at jackie@mifairelections.org and I'll put that in the chat.
Fabulous, Jackie. Fabulous. Yeah, the work that's being done in this team, it's just mind-boggling. So thank you for your great work. And that actually leads me to Shelly Lake, who's on the phone here, I think. And she can talk to us about the Clerk Advocate Program, which she's running statewide to try to take from, as you know, the Souls to the Rolls folks, and many of you are on the Souls to the Rolls teams. Thank you so much. They get the data, and then they need to turn it over to the clerk. And rather than everybody swarming the clerk, we try to train one person who knows how a clerk thinks, what the clerk's job is, establish a relationship so that we become an advocate for the clerk. And we can go in and say, here, we want to show you, for example, you've got 45 dead people in your precinct 2 here. Let's talk about it. I've got the pictures of the obituaries. I've got headstone photos here. What can I do to help you out? That type of thing. So anyway, Shelly, if you're here, can you tell us about the Clerk Advocate Program and your next meeting?
Sure. Thank you so much. And if I seem a little scattered, it's because I'm trying to figure out how to get on the freeway in Lansing. But I'm very excited about the Clerk Advocate group. We had our first meeting this week, and we'll be sending out, first of all, an introduction letter to all clerks in Michigan and as many deputy clerks as we can. Introducing the program, we're going to hit them hard. I'm sorry about my map being loud. Ranked choice voting. So we will be looking for leaders in several other counties. We've got a top 20 identified. So I can put out a list of those that I'm looking for. We'll be attending GOP and possibly a Democrat who've invited me to their monthly meetings for leaders. Gosh, I'm sorry that I don't have my notes in front of me. This program is going to do some great things. I'm excited to work with Souls to the Rolls and this relationship in a well-oiled machine.
All right, that's great. Thank you, Shelly. And I'm putting your email into the chat here for people to pull out and contact you if they're interested in helping.
Yes, so there is the MFE Clerk Advocate at Gmail. Our next meeting will be next Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
And that's by WebEx?
Yes.
Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to add, Shelly?
How do I get to Hastings? No, I'm good.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Jeff, did you have, or Isaac, were either of you able to find one of the social media clips that Tracy's created to play for us?
Quick, I have them, but I can't get them to play the sound. Just a quick update on the Hillsdale matter.
Well, wait, before you do the Hillsdale, if you could send it to Isaac so Isaac can get it up, because he knows how to do the sound on that.
I do have Twitter open. Which
Beautiful.
clip is it?
Oh, let's let Jeff go ahead and go, and then whichever clip you'd like would be fine.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Jeff.
so there will be a preliminary hearing tomorrow at Hillsdale. Jonathan Brader is set to testify. But what happened is that Stephanie Lambert, the defendant, is then going to have to go back to Oakland County later to be at a 4 o'clock meeting at Oakland County's court to finish jury instructions. So Friday in the morning in Hillsdale with Jonathan Brader supposedly, and then we do need somebody there. I'm trying to find other people there.
I'm going. Shelly Lake, Sheriff Leith is going, and our GOP county chair is going. So we will take notes on it. What's interesting is that Brader was removed from the witness list after he testified for the other side of the prosecution, and Stephanie had to subpoena him to be there.
Wow. Well, thank you. I owe you lunch, Shelly.
Oh, awesome. I love it. Thank you.
Wait. Next time in Lansing, I'll take you to that Weeb hamburger place. It's great.
Thank you.
Okay, Isaac, let's wrap up with social media from that Tracy's created. Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming, and be sure to let us know if you've got an issue or you'd like to update the group on anything. Thank you, Chris.
Let's double check to make sure you guys can hear it.
Not hearing it yet.
All right, let me reshare real quick. Sorry about that. All right, now it should work.
What if there's a candidate that you absolutely do not align with, whether it's morally, whatever? I wouldn't want to put my vote, even if it's in last place, to that particular candidate. I don't want to vote for that candidate for whatever reason there is. That's ridiculous to me.
Exactly. And then you run the risk of having your ballot thrown out throughout the multiple rounds of recounting. And then it doesn't count at all. And then your voice was eliminated. And I can understand a lot of people having that concern. I myself am a very staunch pro-lifer. I cannot in good conscience vote for a candidate that is pro-abortion. And so I would be faced with a moral dilemma where I look at the ballot and go, I can only vote for pro-life candidates. If there's one, maybe two, I can't vote for the rest of the candidates that are pro-choice. And if my candidate gets eliminated within the first 1 or 2 rounds, then my vote is discarded, and I did not have a say in who got elected at that point.
That's a great example. What if there's a candidate that you absolutely do not align?
All right, so that was one of the social media clips that was recently posted.
That's great. Got a little feedback going here. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for joining, and look forward to you joining us next Thursday for News at Noon. Bye, everybody.